clock strikes here. It's always Halloween. And I'm always your haunted host, Luce Tomlin Brenner. It is always Halloween, my lovely lanterns, but today it is especially Halloween, for it is October 31st, and the veil between the living and the dead has never been thinner. So make sure to don your spooky costumes today so that you may scare away the spirits who are coming to drag you back through the veil. And I hope you have a pillowcase that is overflowing with full-size bars. You're going to need them because today I present to you Big Frights. I have packed in as many calls from the All Hallows hotline and letters from the Eek mailbag as I could before my withered witch hands started to curl. I do want to remind you that even though tomorrow is November 1st, we will keep on celebrating and there will be a new episode out this upcoming Friday. We are here to help you through the Halloween hangover, the post-October blues. That's what is so fantastic about this community of lanterns and ghouls who continue celebrating even when the normies have packed up their skeletons and washed off their face paint. So make sure you keep tuning in, because as my good buddy Pinhead always says, we have such sights to show you. And you know, many of us are aching to hear how you celebrated Halloween weekend and, of course, the 31st. So please call the All Hallows hotline at 802-532-DEAD or write us an Eek mail and share how you celebrated this season, and we can wind down together. There's no reason to rip the Band-Aid off all at once. There's not another holiday scheduled for weeks. So let's enjoy the come down with some fantastic stories of what defrighted you this weekend. Today's episode and all episodes are made possible thanks to the incredible Patreon Ghoul Gang. Our monthly and annual subscribers keep this podcast ad-free, independent, and sustainable. We have some fantastic events coming up in November for our patrons. We will be celebrating the legend of Sleepy Hollow this month, all month long. So we will be reading the Washington Irving novella and also watching Tim Burton's adaptation as well as the Disney adaptation. You know what else is happening in November? Why, it's my birthday ween. So one of the movie parties in November will be a lineup of films that I love, and we'll have a little birthday party all together. So the dates coming up for our next movie parties are actually this upcoming Sunday, November 6th, starting at 4 p.m., and we'll be watching Tim Burton's adaptation of Sleepy Hollow. And our next movie party will be November 17th. That's a Thursday. I'll be kicking off that movie party at 4 p.m. as well. And I have not picked what films I want to show yet, or if I want to do more than one. I said films because you know I love movies. So I have this idea of an all-day birthday viewing party, but I don't know if I'll actually be up for that. So we'll definitely be meeting on November 17th. For a movie to be announced, and absolutely this Sunday, November 6th at 4 p.m. for Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow. Then our book club meeting, where we will discuss Washington Irving's Legend of Sleepy Hollow, is Tuesday, November 29th. And after that book club meeting, we will be watching the Disney version of Sleepy Hollow and discussing how it works as an adaptation of the novella. And if you love spooky stories, there are now 2 brand new bonus episodes that are out all about the thinning of the veil, perfect to listen to tonight in a dark, dark room when you're all alone and perhaps the window is cracked just enough so that a whispering, chittering, cold breeze sneaking in and nipping at your neck. And as we talk about all the fun coming up on the Patreon for November, and don't forget December, Gothic Horror Month, I do want to remind you that this podcast does run on our Patreon ghouls. And while I know it is tempting to maybe step back from the Patreon when calendar Halloween is over, I absolutely need you to stay on. This is a fantastic time for people to sign up annually. That means an entire year of It's Always Halloween. You pay once and you're good for a year. And it means that Pete and I can depend on that monetary support for a year and not go month to month unexpectedly losing $50 to $100. So for anyone today who signs up on October 31st for an annual Patreon Ghoul Gang membership, I will personally send you a thank you note and a little treat bag of It's Always Halloween merch. The extra special treat that comes with signing up annually is that you get 2 months for free. So you can sign up at our lowest level, the $1 a month level, for $10 a year, which is the cost of a small pumpkin at the patch. Or for $30 a year, you can be a part of the Discord community and the Kitchen Witch Recipe Club. And what is that? Just 2 tickets to a horror movie, and so on and so forth. So check us out at patreon.com/It's Always Halloween. And help it truly be always Halloween for me and Pete and all of the lanterns out there in Halloween land. Honestly, if we had every single listener of the podcast just join at the $1 level, Pete and I could make a living wage from the podcast, which is, of course, the goal so that we don't burn out and we can keep making this fantastic community for everyone. So that is my Halloween plea, my Halloween wish. Sign up at the annual level, guarantee us income for the next year, and join us at our movie parties, our book club, our recipe club, our bonus episodes, our Discord. Gosh, we have so much that we do on the Patreon. It is hard for me to remember all of it. All right, before we jump into today's giant, big, gargantuan, radioactive frights, I do want to deeply thank all of our newest ghouls who signed up the last couple weeks of October. Such a huge help to have this final push at the end of the month. Thank you so much and welcome to Jackson, Desiree, Scott, Crystal, Court, Allie, Ezra, and Stacy. Your support keeps us on the airwaves. So thank you and welcome, new ghouls. I hope you will stick around for many months to come and get freaked with us all year round. And now it is my absolute pleasure to kick off this show with a very special message from one of my favorite creatures in Halloween land.
Din, 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 din. Hello, kitties. It's your old pal, John Kassir, the voice of the Crypt Keeper. And I'm here with my good fiend, Josh. And we wanted to start out Halloween by saying hello to Luce at It's Always Halloween. You know, kiddies, you're going to want to check that one out. Do enjoy Halloween. My best to Luce and everyone out there who's enjoying my favorite horror day.
That extremely special Halloween gift was sent to me by Ghoul Gang member Josh, and I have listened to it no less than a dozen times. It is my new favorite thing that I own. Josh, thank you so much for this welcome, this greeting, these wonderful, manic, laughing craziness from the Crypt Keeper. I am touched, and I will be trying to figure out how to make this my ringtone. Now, with the Crypt Keeper's blessing, let's jump into the Eek mailbag. This first letter comes with the subject line, "Call Halloween quits?" Hello, Luce. As always, I enjoy your podcast. Whenever I need a Halloween pick-me-up, I can always pull it up. This past summer, I've had great luck growing carnivorous plants like the Venus flytrap, sundews, and pitcher plants. The Venus flytrap is in a 20th anniversary Lamex Spooky Town mug. Wonderful. That's probably why you've had such great luck. Naturally, I have my office and my basement decorated for Halloween. The only thing that makes me feel kinda down is the holiday comes and goes so fast. I hear people say that they take their decorations down right after Halloween is over. I decided to buck the current. I am keeping my decorations up until Thanksgiving, maybe even longer. No one has to see it and think I'm weird, and I'm that much happier with my things up running for a little while longer. Halloween doesn't have to end with the close of the day. It's a state of mind. It can last as long as I want it to last. Hauntingly yours, Tom. Tom, you have the It's Always Halloween mindset. Bravo to you. Pumpkin confetti thrown at you. Exactly. I think I have told this story before, but Isaac moved in with me in October of 2016, and my Halloween decorations were already up at that point, and so he was there for the taking down of the Halloween decorations. And as I was packing things up and putting them away, he was like, "Why don't we keep some of this up? It makes you so happy, and it looks great. We should leave out some skulls. We should let this bat hang up all year round. Why put this candle away?" And it just made my heart sing with glee. And funnily enough, I hadn't thought of keeping Halloween decorations up all year round, even though I did love them, and a lot of them did naturally fit in with my kind of odd decor that I kept anyways. So I love this idea. Why not keep them up till the next holiday? Because November is still fall, it's still autumnal, it's still a very cozy time. This is why I'm anti-calendars. I feel like it's on our back all the time, telling us what to do. And we don't need any more bosses in our lives. No gods, no masters, just Halloween. Tom, thank you so much for your incredible email. I'm so happy that the podcast continues to entertain you. We love having you as a lantern. I hope this has been a very special calendar Halloween for you. Up next, we have a call all the way from the UK.
Hi, Luce and Ghoul Gang members. My name's Adam and I'm from England. And I want to talk about a Halloween memory today. It's a nostalgic one for me, and that is the best thing I received whilst trick-or-treating. So on this particular year, I was around 12 years old. It was Halloween. I'd just come home from school, taken the bus home and walked back. And my two little sisters, they were already in costume. So I skipped dinner, went upstairs to put my costume on, and the three of us, we headed out early. So one of the first houses we went to trick-or-treating was my next-door neighbour but one. We didn't know this at the time, but they were Halloween Scrooges. They didn't like Halloween, didn't want to celebrate it, and they had planned to have a barbecue in the yard with a few drinks, and they were going to just close the curtains and ignore the door. But we'd come a little bit earlier than usual, and we knocked on the door, and the lady answered, and she had nothing prepared. She had no candy. So she noticed that we were neighbours, and I think she tried to find something for us. So she disappeared off into the back. And a minute or two later, she came back with 3 steaming hot sausages on 3 metal forks. And I apologise if anybody's vegan or vegetarian. You'll have to imagine that these are vegan or vegetarian sausages. So she hands these 3 sausages on forks to me and my 2 sisters. And we grab them and we turn and we're about to walk away. And suddenly she says, "Stop, I need the forks back. You'll have to eat them here." So me and my 2 little sisters were there blowing these 3 hot sausages on the doorstep. And yes, I just remember I was hungry at the time because I'd skipped dinner, and the smell was just permeating the night air, and it was very, very delicious. And when I did bite into this sausage, it was so juicy and tasty, and because I was hungry, you know, it'll always go down as my memory of my favourite treat received, trick-or-treating. On the flip side, I would say that the worst things I probably received trick-or-treating were hard-boiled sweets. I'm not really a fan of lollipops and sweets like that. I'm a big chocolate fan. So it would be a tradition at the end of the night for me and my 2 sisters, or me, my 2 sisters and my cousins, to sit around in a circle and empty out our Halloween bags. And we'd start to make trades with each other. So I'd try to trade 3 lollipops for 1 Milky Bar, and they'd be like, "No way, I wouldn't trade a Milky Bar for anything." And they'd come back with a counter offer, 5 lollipops for 1 small Mars bar, and we'd go back and forth like this until everybody had made the deals that they wanted to make, and that was it. So, yep, that's just a nice Halloween memory from me. And yep, I hope everybody is doing well. If you're struggling with anything, just keep going, get some support, and keep the faith, because the only way is up. Have a wonderful Halloween, everybody. Stay safe.
Adam, that was such a beautiful call, and thank you for those kind, encouraging words at the end all year round. That's excellent advice. I am obsessed with your story of Halloween sausages. I did pretend that they were impossible sausages because I am vegan. And you had me thinking about my favorite treat that I ever got trick-or-treating, and I've never gotten warm food while trick-or-treating exactly, but I do remember going to a couple neighbors' houses who had hot cider, and I remember that being very cozy and comforting, because I'm sure it's similar in England, but Halloween in Ohio is usually very cold. So that memory of my cold hands around one of those hot, small little coffee cups, ooh, what a great feeling. One more little tidbit to share that I feel like you will all appreciate while we were listening to Adam's call. A cockroach crawled through the pod closet and sent me scrambling to the ceiling, essentially. I tried to kill it. It got away. So now for the remainder of this recording, I will be extra scared. You might even hear me shriek if it reveals itself again. Living in the city. Little tricks around every corner. Adam, thank you for this incredible call. I will be thinking of kids eating sausages on front steps all Halloween long. Can't wait to hear from you again. Our next email comes with the subject line, Happy Halloweek. Hi, Luce. In this final week before the big 31, I've really been trying to take your advice and that of our fellow lanterns to find ways of enjoying Halloween happiness in unexpected or overlooked places. I went pretty hard this year with all the theme park haunts, and now that Halloween is right around the corner, I've found myself having a little FOMO for the smaller, more subtle celebrations. So this is what I've been doing this week to try and soak in everything the spooky season has to offer. I'm starting my days with very early walks around Culver City and Mar Vista, listening to either my Halloween playlist or, of course, an episode of It's Always Halloween. As I wander in the dark and come across various decorations, I take pictures or videos of my favorites. I'll send some to you via Instagram so you can enjoy them too. I've been collecting shirts from the various haunts this year, so I'm wearing a different one each day to celebrate the week. Today, I'm wearing a shirt from Universal Studios' Halloween Horror Nights, inspired by Jordan Peele's Nope. I even bought a jack-o'-lantern trick-or-treat bucket full of candy to work. It's a very small office, and I just felt the space needed a little Halloween spirit for this last week of October. Last night, I found myself with some downtime around 8:30, so I decided to watch a spooky episode of Boy Meets World, the 5th episode of the 5th season, The Witches of Pembroke. It's one of my childhood favorites. Then today at work, I found a simple Halloween nod in a real estate ad as I went through the mail, and it just made my morning and ultimately inspired me to write this email. I hope other lanterns can get some ideas from this letter on how we can stop to smell the pumpkins. How we can stop to smell the pumpkins this time of year and appreciate the simpler Halloween moments. Happy Halloween! And that is from Ghoul Gang member Diego. Diego, thank you so much for this email. I really love everything that you are doing, and it warms my Halloween heart to hear that the podcast and the other lanterns keep it simple advice really spoke to you. These are fantastic ways to celebrate. I myself have enjoyed just walking around neighborhoods and taking in people's decorations. And those classic Halloween episodes from when you're a kid, oh, I love them. That's an excellent episode of Boy Meets World. My favorite Boy Meets World Halloween episode is the Scream, slasher episode, which really scared me when I was a kid. And I was like, this is a horror movie. And then you watch it now and it's just very much young people's TV, but it really freaked me out. And so I enjoy revisiting that. Boy Meets World always had really great Halloween episodes. Anything on the TGIF lineup from the 90s, I just loved when it was like the Friday before Halloween and every episode for 2 hours was packed full of Halloween goodness. Thank you so much for bringing those memories back into my mind and flooding my head with dopamine. I will share some of your pictures on the It's Always Halloween podcast Instagram. I really like that you brought up this advertisement that for real estate has a ghost floating over some homes, and it says, I bet you think it's a spooky time for real estate, but it's not. I call our neighborhood home too, and I would be happy to vanquish your worries. You don't see that type of campy, cheesy, playful advertisements as much anymore. But again, that does remind me of growing up in the 80s and 90s and advertisers being a little more tongue-in-cheek and a little goofy. And I would love to see a return to goofiness. One of the best parts about calendar Halloween is when you see it crop up in all of these unexpected places like a real estate ad. So I want to encourage people to really keep an eye out for those little touches. And I know it is the 31st today, but you know how advertisements will stick around a little too long. So if you see anything fun like that, please let the podcast know. And Diego, thank you for these reminders of the fun ways we can spot Halloween, even if we don't have a ton of money or a ton of time. I love that you brought up wearing a Halloween t-shirt every day. I try to do the same, or at least wear autumnal colors, which is something we can continue to do as November approaches, encroaches, attacks. How dare November come at us like this when we just want more October? Anyways, we can fight back with cool Halloween looks all year round. Diego, thanks again for this fantastic letter. Thanks for being a member of the Ghoul Gang. And I absolutely adore all these pictures you sent me, and I can't wait to share them with the rest of the lanterns on our porch. Hope you're having a wonderful Halloween day. Now let's take a call from the magical land of Missouri.
Hi, Lucy. My name is Selena. I live in Missouri, and I've been listening to your podcast for a little bit now, and I'm really enjoying hearing how everyone else celebrates, what their traditions are, and definitely all of their Halloween memories. I'm a huge Halloween freak, so it's really hard for me just to choose a couple things to talk about, but I've been wanting to contribute to the podcast for a minute now because I just love Halloween so much. So first I wanted to talk about decorating. I go all out for Halloween season. I decorate almost every room of the house, top to bottom, and every inch of the yard. It takes me months and months, and I just really enjoy seeing all the others enjoying it. I love making Halloween crafts the most. I take the store-bought things and make them better, or just find stuff around the house that I can turn into a creepy decoration. Really, that's the most rewarding for me, is whenever I can just dig up something from around me and create something that's unique that no one else has. The store-bought decorations are all well and good, and I have bins full of them, but they just don't last very long, and everyone else has them, so I like being unique and keeping it different from all the other people's decorations. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is trick-or-treaters. There was some discussion on some of the episodes about how there's been less and less every year, and that's been true for me, I've noticed. But this year I'm in a new house, so we'll see if I get even more trick-or-treaters than previous years. But I take this as an opportunity to really reward the kids that do come out and trick-or-treat. Ever since COVID happened, I've been making little treat bags, and I have them set out on a decorated table so we can minimize hand-to-hand contact. And what I really like about the treat bags is that I can put an assortment of candies in there, as well as like little toys and stickers. I mean, could you imagine being a kid and getting home and getting to open up a whole little bag of treats and finding out what's inside? Which leads me to the next thing. I really enjoy putting a little trick inside of that treat bag, like a fake spider or snake or whatever other critter I have. This year I actually bought some very realistic fake worms, like big slimy earthworms, and I'm going to play tricks with those. Could you imagine reaching into your treat bag to grab out candy and you grab out a big sticky worm instead? I'm also just catching up to the part that you are going to be doing about witches, and I'm super excited about that. You asked if anyone's ever dressed up like a witch and to send pictures, and I did send a photo, but I wanted to say that I have this awesome witch dress with a cape, and it's just the coolest costume that I've ever had. It's real cotton and not that plastic polyester stuff we always had as kids, and it's just so legit that I have a hard time not wearing it every year.
Delina, I just loved this story and your call and hearing about your costumes and the tricks and treats that you hand out. You painted such a beautiful picture. And I'm not sure, you might have gotten cut off at the end there, but you did follow up with a email that had these great pictures of your witch costume. And you say in the short email, I love this witch dress and I have a hard time not wearing it every year. I also hope to find my photo album to dig out some old pictures of costumes from when I was a kid. Yes, Delina, please send them. You never know, we might be able to use them for a future publication of The Lantern's Way. Available now, indefinitely, on DisplacedSnail.com. Delina goes on to say that she's planning to contribute more because she is a huge Halloween fan. She just has to sit down and figure out what are the best stories to share with us. Thank you, Delina. I love these pictures. I will share them on our Instagram, and I appreciate this call. Your description of kids reaching into a bag of candy and touching a worm, it gave me the shivers. Even more so now that there is some creepy crawly just running amok in this closet with me. Okay, normally I would re-record that part when a motorcycle drove past. But I did think it was really beautifully timed, as if the cockroach was speeding by me when I said running amok. So you guys are really getting the closet experience tonight. I'm not leaving anything out. I want this to be real. It's Halloween. I can't hide anything from you. This is the truth. All right, up next, we have a fantastic email from Grim Turn Tom. Hello, Luce. While cataloging the latest episode, I heard your call for meme costumes. Tom is, of course, referring to our episode with costume designer Emma Kogan, and we talked about whether or not meme costumes were a huge thing. And Grim Term Tom is a online person who is so good at knowing everything that's ever happened on the internet. So, Tom, I'm so happy that you wrote this email, and I will let you continue. So yes, meme costumes are a very popular thing going back to the early 2000s. Mostly, they are seen at anime, comic, or gaming conventions, where most of the crowd is also chronically online. At Q-Moricon, the local anime convention for Portland, Oregon, back in 2008, most of my crew had costumes of some kind of meme. I've attached our group photo that includes an anonymous Guy Fawkes, Long Cat, Technol, and many more niche memes from the Doctor Who community, like terrifying Pertwee. I'm hoping this means something to some of the audience. I'm sorry that I'm butchering all of these and how they're said correctly, but I hope you're appreciating it still. Okay, going on. For my favorite meme costume of the last few years, I recommend searching Arthur Fist costume. Tom, I know that costume and I agree. Meme costumes are just as much fun as costumes of obscure characters because when someone gets it, you have an automatic bond with that person and you're halfway to making a new friend. My prediction for the meme costume of Halloween 2022 is Corn Kid. And I agree with you because I've already seen some Corn Kid costumes and it's just the beginning right now as I record of Halloweekend. Tom, this was insightful and fun, and your costumes, your meme costumes here are really fantastic, and I'm excited to share those with the rest of the lanterns on the It's Always Halloween Instagram. Wonderfully insightful. Thank you for this. Now, let's take a call about karaoke? No, scarioke!
Hello, my name is Diana, and I am calling to share a fun Halloween tradition that I have with my partner. So he's a musician, and he has a lot of great sound equipment, including karaoke equipment. So a fun Halloween tradition that we do is that we do scarioke, and he sets up all his karaoke equipment, and we sing songs that are only Halloween songs or songs that have anything to do with Halloween, like witches and cats and candy and things like that. So we do our scarioke, and we usually just do it in my living room, and it's gotten more elaborate over the years. He even has a little playlist of Halloween videos and music videos and cartoons that he plays in between each of our songs. And it's usually been the two of us, but once at my job, he actually came with his equipment, and we threw a whole karaoke party for everybody. And this year we're going to my sister's, and we're going to do karaoke at her house with her upstairs neighbors, and we're going to have lots of delicious treats while we do so. So since the last episode was about music and Halloween music, I thought I would share this memory. Thank you so much, and I love your podcast. Goodbye!
Diana, thank you for calling in. What a scream. That sounds so incredibly fun. And last year, Halloween 2021, I did a little karaoke myself. Fellow Ghoul Gang member, Lantern, Elisa, had just moved to LA, and we threw a Halloween party for some close friends. She had a big porch, so a lot of it could be outside. And by the end of the night, a bunch of us had gotten a little bug in our system where we needed to blast out some tunes. And I can't remember all the songs that we did, but Thriller sticks out to me, as does Season of the Witch, one of my favorite songs, one of my favorite movies. And the Season of the Witch song goes on and on and on, and it's really repetitive. And it's so interesting to me that songs that you love just going about your world are different when you're singing them in karaoke, and you really realize how many times that guy says, "It is a season of the witch." It just goes on and on and on. It was very, very fun. And you know what it's like at the end of a party. You have a certain amount of spirits within you that can help you continue on a very insane song way longer than it's technically entertaining. Thank you so much for sharing this story with us, and I hope that Scarioke inspires some other lanterns, because, again, this is something that you can do at home rather simply. You don't have to go out. You can just do it with a few close friends. Or, hey, bully the karaoke machine this Halloween evening. When you're done listening to this podcast, go to your local karaoke bar and just get on the microphone, pound Season of the Witch over and over and over and over. Make that stage your own. Thank you for your call, Diana. Happy Halloween. Up next, an Eek mail with the subject line, Alice's Adventures in Halloween Land. I loved that story Emily sent in about finding love on Halloween. It reminded me that I have a story of Halloween romance to share as well. In 2003, I spent Halloween as Alice, of Wonderland fame. I was obsessed with the Disney movie as a kid, and in 1999, there was a movie version on NBC that got me to read the books, and I absolutely loved them. I read them several times, and I had several Lewis Carroll poems permanently committed to memory by the time I dressed as Alice for Halloween. I didn't want to specifically be Disney's Alice, so I scoured a couple local thrift stores several times over the course of the summer to piece together my own Alice. I found a frilly, bright blue dress for a base. I found a white apron and added a red border and pockets on my own. I already had the right shoes and white tights. And on the 30th, I dyed my hair yellow. Not bleach blonde, a deep neon yellow. There's two types of teens in high school, those who wear their Halloween costume to school and those who don't. Both groups think that they're the cool group, but I believe we all know it's the costume kids who are actually the cool ones. Any friend of mine who didn't dress up would not be getting a spot in my top 8 on MySpace. There's something so fun about inhabiting a familiar space in a costume. Whether school or work, it takes such a mundane experience and makes it memorable. Sitting in geometry in a costume just hits different. Sitting in a desk in my big Alice skirt felt different on my skin. The classroom looked different, bordered by the very yellow light bouncing off my hair and my peripheral vision. Even lunch was fun on Halloween. It was no longer me and my friends eating square pizza. On the 31st, it was a tea party attended by Alice, Hermione, Princess Zelda, a 20s flapper, a Silent Hill nurse, and a blood-drenched axe murderer in a wedding dress. And it was a tea party, at least for me, as I brought a saucer and teacup from home. Alice has tea parties, not lunches. Halloween was on a Friday that year, so the school was having a themed dance. Too old to trick-or-treat, but too young for a bar? You're the target demo for school dances. In the hall before the last day of class, I saw someone dressed as the Mad Hatter. I had never seen him before, but we were both so shocked that we wore solo costumes that matched. It was so rushed. We were both on the way to different classes. We barely had time to say anything before he said, "I'll see you at the dance," and rushed into a classroom just before the bell rang. I myself was late. This wasn't even the right character for running late to my very important class. I ran Normally, I'd be in trouble for getting to class after the bell, but when the teacher asked why I was late, I told her, I have to run so fast even to stay in the same place. Covering real distance is even harder. Luckily, this was English class, so my deep-cut looking glass reference got me off with a warning. I saw the Mad Hatter at the dance, and of course, we danced together. How could we not? It was too perfect. Both some fast dances and a few slow dances, too. We got to talk, and we were both big fans of the books. He was very impressed that I could recite Jabberwocky from memory. He also put his costume together at the thrift store. An oversized top hat, colorful mismatched pants, a jacket, and a vest with a necktie and a bow. A rather giant bow tie, in fact. We never met because he was 1 grade below me, despite the fact that we were only 2 months apart in age. Just like everything else, the costumes made this night feel magical. This wasn't 2 awkward strangers at a high school dance. This was Alice finding her hatter. This story doesn't quite have as climactic an ending as Emily's. Our night ended in just a kiss. Not my first, but I did find out later it was his first. We never dated, but we stayed friends until I graduated. Did you ever make a connection with someone due to costumes, Luce? Happy Halloween from Danielle. Well, Danielle, you certainly have a way with words and are quite the storyteller. Thank you for sharing this beautiful tale with us. It was filled with such romance, such Halloween magic, such glee. And you touched on something that really resonated with me when you were talking about the way costumes transform an otherwise mundane, normal space. This Friday, Halloweekend Friday, I was at the bar with one of my creative collaborators, Casey, also a Ghoul Gang member. And some people were dressed up in Halloween costumes, and others were in plain clothes, and others were wearing maybe like a Halloween-themed t-shirt or earrings like myself. And it was so lovely to look out over the bar and see a Catwoman next to just a guy in a flannel shirt, next to the Scarlet Witch, next to a mummy, next to another guy in just a baseball cap. And what is that? Is it Margot Tannenbaum? And she's talking to a Frankenstein, and they're also just hanging out with a girl in a black dress? It made the bar, just a regular bar, feel so fun. Just walking past everybody to go to the bathroom was like making a special Halloween parade. I absolutely love that you made this observation, Danielle. And I love that you had this beautiful romantic evening. There's just something about high school memories like that. They're so sweet, and everything's happening kind of for the first time, and you're sort of an adult, but not quite able to make all the choices that you would want to make because you still have adult figures in your life impacting you and controlling your time and where you're supposed to be and when. And so when you have these little moments to yourself and they're your moments, there's nothing like that. It makes the world feel so wide, so open, like anything is possible. And you can get those moments as you grow up too. It is harder. You have to be more on the lookout for them. But gosh, I just live for those moments. It just makes life worthwhile. And I scoured my brain and all of my memories, and I don't think I ever had a Halloween romance that wasn't a relationship that I was already in. How can this be possible? How have I not fallen for someone on Halloween night, Halloween Eve even? I don't think it's happened. That's not to say that I haven't had some lovely Halloween nights with those that I have been in relationships in the past. I have lots of fun memories of canoodling in costumes, but just the idea that you could possibly run into someone who completes your costume, my word, I just love it. Thank you so much, Danielle. And please, lanterns, if you have a costume meet cute, like Emily, who wrote in for our costumes episode with Emma Kogan, or like Danielle, who met her Mad Hatter, I would love to hear about them. Something I don't talk about very often on the podcast, but you may have been able to put together already, is that I am a bit of a hopeless romantic. So I do really like these types of stories. Danielle, please don't hesitate to write in again. It was lovely hearing from you. I wish you many more magical Halloween nights like that dance. And now a call from the All Hallows hotline about a different type of Halloween magic, one that's a little messier.
Hi, my name's Matt. I'm from Ontario, Canada. And me and my friend Jonathan used to love going out on what we call Devil's Night, the night before Halloween. And we used to cause a lot of trouble. We basically decided that we would only egg houses that didn't have Halloween decorations, and we would only cause a fuss for people that didn't believe in Halloween. But anyways, one of our first nights, or maybe it was like one of our second times going out, we had eggs concealed on our person. We were walking down the street when a car of teenagers drove by and like an egg flew right by us and didn't really hit us, but it came close. And then the car turned around and we were just stunned. It was like suddenly another egg came at us, missed badly, and we couldn't believe it. The car kept going, and then we see the car turn around and it's coming back at us, and we realized we've got eggs. So we took out the eggs out of our carton and we just nailed that car. They were not happy, to say the least, but they were very deserving of the eggs that they got. Anyways, I also don't know if you guys have pointed out yet, but the first documented use of the term trick-or-treat was actually in a Canadian newspaper. I'm sure you maybe already talked about it. I'm just new to the podcast. Anyways, that's everything. Happy Halloween.
Matt, this story cracked me open like an egg. I was laughing so hard. Thank you for calling in and sharing this story. Early on in the podcast, we did talk about what the different names that people call Devil's Night or Mischief Night or Goosey Night, all different things regionally. And I love that you got up into some serious mischief, and then the mischief came and found you. Just hysterical. Thank you so much for sharing this story. And on our trick-or-treat episode, our trick-or-treat history episode from October 2020, I believe I did quote that trick-or-treat was originally first stated in a Canadian newspaper. But bravo to you, because you are a Canadian and you would just love for your country's contribution to Halloween to be honored. And I adore that. So yes, do not forget, dear lanterns, that we have the Canadians to thank for our phrase, trick or treat. But who do we have to thank for the idea of throwing eggs at one another on Halloween? I have not quite been able to trace the history of that yet, although pranks of that nature and much, much worse, do not forget the trolley car incidents of the 1930s that I spoke about in our Midsummer Scream episode. Those were much scarier than eggs being thrown, but it is a fascinating tradition to egg houses, and I really love that you chose to go after the Scrooges of Halloween, as Adam from the UK put it. If you're not going to decorate, you have to face the wrath of the egg. This is a fantastic call, Matt. Thank you so much. Happy Halloween, and I hope you stay egg-free this holiday. Our next mail has the subject line, Cozy Halloween Movie Recommendation. Hello, Luce and all Luceo lanterns. I just love this podcast. I have been trying to catch up on all the episodes, but I had to skip ahead a little so that I could get current with the episodes for this spooky season. I had wanted to wait to see if anyone else had ever recommended this movie, but I just can't hold it in any longer. My all-time favorite Halloween movie is the 1986 version of The Worst Witch. I know there have been several adaptations, but this movie is so much a part of my childhood and so amazingly, so perfectly 1980s Halloween that in my heart, this is the only version there can be. And I watch it multiple times during the calendar Halloween season. It chronicles the misadventures of a young witch as she navigates her first term at witch school and as the school is celebrating Halloween. The cast includes Diana Rigg, Charlotte Rae, and the fabulous Tim Curry. The movie also features some gloriously period special effects and music. If this movie hasn't crossed your path yet, Luce, you in particular may appreciate that it stars none other than a young Fairuza Balk, about a year after she was in Return to Oz. I love that you love that film, as do I. I had never thought of it as a Halloween movie until you listed it on the podcast. Now that you mention it, the gothic horror escape from electroshock therapy aspect really couldn't have been more creepy, especially in a movie that was made for children. Of course, we know we also love Fairuza Balk from The Craft, so her spooky and magical movie pedigree should be another point in favor for checking out The Worst Witch. Unfortunately, I haven't found this movie on many platforms. It can currently be viewed in full length on YouTube, and DVDs are available online on various sites. It's worth that bit of effort, maybe even a lack of HD, just to view it. It wouldn't be the spooky season without the annual ritual of watching Tim Curry as the Grand Wizard wearing a white satin cape while singing the song, "Anything Can Happen on Halloween." Thanks so much for creating this creepy community, and thanks for including those of us who celebrate Halloween cozy style. Sybil. Oh, Sybil, I love cozy style Halloween, and it's been such a treat to learn about all of these cozy movies. Of course, there's so much coziness that I love, especially this season, because I was in so much pain for so much of the calendar Halloween season. I could not handle the loud noises of typical horror movies that I like, so that's one of the reasons I like to screen some of my classics, some of my favorite black and white films. I did that for Patreon this month. And then I watched a lot of cartoons and TV shows and some really sweet family movies that I liked a lot on Netflix. The Curse of Bridge Hollow and Night Books. Two films that I thought were really well written, smart, treated kids like people instead of like dummies, which is very important to me because kids are just as valuable as adults are. They just haven't learned everything yet, and that's not their fault. That's the growing process. We can't hold that against them and make stupid movies for them. If we want future artistic children, we need to show them things that will inspire their minds, not just their parents' wallets. Anyways, did I know I was going to go on a rant? I did not, but cinema is very important to me. So I'm excited to check out The Worst Witch. Thank you so much for recommending it to me. I have heard of it before, but it did just slip on by. I've never actually watched it, and you did an excellent job of selling me on it by using Fairuza Balk and Tim Curry, two glorious icons of Halloween. All hail Cozy Halloween, and all hail Sybil for this fantastic email. Look forward to hearing from you again, and I will definitely check out The Worst Witch as soon as I possibly can. Up next, a call from the All Hallows Hotline with another recommendation for us. I am delighted how many of you were inspired by our episode on Halloween music. So we've got tons of feedback and more recommendations, and I just want you to know I've received them all, and I will be peppering them throughout future episodes. So right now, here is another interesting recommendation for Halloween music that I had never heard of before.
Hi, Lucy. First off, I love your podcast so much. It just fills my time with joy. I'm not nearly caught up. I'm starting from the beginning and working my way through and savoring every minute of it. So I don't know if this has been recommended already or not, but I wanted to call just in case and so strongly recommend a Halloween album. Maybe not Halloween, but certainly a spooky album called Eben Shetler's. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. I believe it's Shetler's Witching Hour. It came out in like 2008, 2010, and it used to be really easy to find on a lot of streaming services, and now it's getting a little bit more difficult, but it is so worth for the time to track it down. I wish they would re-release it because it is an incredible album, just full of the funnest, spookiest music. And so I'd highly recommend it to any of the other lanterns who enjoy their spooky music from a musical sense. And so the way the creator spells his name is EBANSCHLETTER. And the album is called The Witching Hour, and it's incredible. So I hope the other lanterns can find it and love it just as much as I do. And thanks for all you do. Oh, and my name's Jeannie.
Jeannie, this is so fun, and I am so grateful that you spelled that out. So I was able to find Iban Schletter on Bandcamp, where you can listen to most of their music. So I'm going to share that in the show notes for people. I think this will be something many people are going to enjoy, and it's so fun getting to hear so many people's different taste in music and the ways that you can really celebrate Halloween in all of these different genres. There really is something for everyone. That's what's so great hearing from different people all over the world when it comes to music and movies and activities, because there's so many things I would never even think of that are maybe beyond my borders or what I expect. And you have all pushed me to appreciate and enjoy so many new things that I wouldn't have known about without you. So Jeannie, fantastic call. And I look forward to adding this music to my future playlists. Our next letter has the subject line, Calendar Halloween Festivities. Hi, Luce. It's longtime lantern Kia here. I always love listening to the podcast, but it is extra special and cozy to me to listen to while I'm making journal pages for the Halloween Journal Challenge throughout October. Spooky journaling just wouldn't be the same without your voice and Pete's music in my ears. Aw, Kia, that just warms me so completely. I love to hear that. So many of you are outrageously creative, and when I hear from you that you are listening to the podcast as you are making your creations, it just really thrills me and brings a little tear to my eye to feel like we're making things for each other and we're creating more imagination and tactile experiences for people out there in the world. It's just so important, and thank you for everybody, all the artists who have shared their art with me or who listen to the podcast while they're making something. Every time you tell me that, it really adds like a year to my life, I promise you. Anyways, let's just get back to Kia's letter. But that opening paragraph made me really happy, Kia. Thank you. Kia goes on to say, I thought it was about time that I wrote another Eek mail just to share what I've been doing to celebrate calendar Halloween this month. My partner's mom had a bumper harvest of apples this autumn, thanks to the unusually hot summer we had in England this year, so we have been baking a lot of apple pies. Not really that spooky, but it does add to the cozy feel of the season. I have visited a big pumpkin patch with my mom, partner, and little cousins, ages 5 and 10. We first took them last year after I'd been listening to the podcast and hearing about everyone's amazing traditions on the Small Frights Friday episodes, and I really wanted to start my own traditions. I wasn't sure if my cousins would be that interested, but they seemed to enjoy our visit last year, and to my surprise and delight, they were super excited to go again this year. I have somehow trained my youngest cousin to point and giggle happily whenever he sees a big pumpkin, which just fills my heart with joy. We explored the pumpkin patch, chose our favorites, carved them together, and visited all the animals on the farm, including a huge pig who was happy to scarf down everyone's leftover pumpkin guts. It was such a fun and wholesome day, and I'm so happy to be forging my own little family Halloween traditions. Next week, my partner and I are spending a day at Scarefest at Alton Towers, a theme park nearby. The park is all decorated for Halloween, there are scare mazes, and the rides stay open after dark. I'm so excited. I've always loved it so much, and I even tried out a scare maze last year. I used to be too much of a scaredy cat to do it, but I was thrilled, so I will be doing more of them this year. Scarefest and the Pumpkin Patch are my two main festivities. I had planned to do more and haven't fit in as much into October as I wanted to, but that's okay because it's always Halloween. I've also been more grateful than ever for all the little things this calendar Halloween. Stepping on a particularly crunchy leaf, admiring a house with cool Halloween decorations, watching a cozy show by candlelight, and drinking from my pumpkin mug. Thank you for reminding us to slow down and appreciate the Halloween magic all around us. Also, congrats! I'm so glad your demon teeth have been exorcised and your skull is finally free. Sending you love and spooky festive vibes, your lantern, Kia. Ah, Kia, what a festive eek mail. Thank you. And big thank yous on the teeth front. I'm realizing I don't know if I actually have officially announced it, that yes, my teeth are gone. I have less teeth and I'm so happy. I'm curious to know if anyone out there can tell the difference, if my voice sounds lighter and happier. But I am now, as of this moment, Halloween weekend, feeling the best that I've felt since June, May. It's been several months. It's been a very hard summer and fall. So you guys have been some of the brightest lights in my life, and the major Halloween celebrations I've been engaged with is going through your letters and listening to your calls and putting the zine together, looking at all your gorgeous pictures. So thank you for keeping my spirits up and for being so patient. I know we are all anxious to hear about witches, and I am anxious to share that with you. And you know what? Time is a funny thing, and it doesn't always work out the way that we want. So, Kia, I can really relate to you about wanting to do more this month, and I commend you for being able to see and appreciate the little Halloween things that are all around you. I'm so pleased to hear that you've started your own traditions with your family. They sound adorable and fulfilling, and like you've challenged yourself in a way that feels safe and fun. And I'm proud of you that you have been able to get into scare mazes. I do think that there are a lot of different levels of haunts out there. They're not all the most extreme and the most messed up. I do think a way into haunts, if you are curious out there, lanterns, and you haven't gone to a scare maze before, amusement park scare mazes are usually a good entry point because they are aimed at trying to get in some younger people, preteens, adolescents. And it's not going to be the same as a blackout maze, some extreme haunt where they're allowed to touch you and lock you in a box or something. There's something for everyone, and I really love hearing about people's scare mazes experiences. I was able to do the Winchester Mystery House maze this year, which was very special. I told you about on a previous episode, and on Halloween night, Isaac and I will be going to the LA Haunted Hayride, so I'm excited to be able to get 2 haunts in this month, bookending the month, because we started at Winchester on September 30th, so we'll be at the LA Hayride on October 31st, a perfect way to see October in and out. Kia, your letters are always so joyful, and we're so grateful that you have taken the time to share them with us. Kia is such a creative individual. I want everyone to check out her website. It's kiacreates.co.uk. You can also find her on Instagram at Kia Creates. And she is an illustrator, an author, an artist. She creates these incredible journal materials, really beautiful stickers. So check out her website to find her shop of stationery and stickers. Check out her journal club, her books. She makes these really cool Puzzle Quest books, and she really puts so much love and whimsy into everything that she creates. And for those of you who are especially aligned with cozy Halloween, I think Kia's work will really speak to you. I will put all of the interesting Kia stuff in the show notes for you, where you can find everything that we've talked about today. I try to link as much stuff as possible to make it easier for all the lanterns out there to just quickly find the thing that we're talking about. In the show notes, you'll also be able to find a link to The Lantern's Way, our Halloween made in collaboration with Joe from Displaced Snail. That will be available indefinitely. If you have not gotten your zine yet, don't worry. A great way to make it always Halloween is to order it for yourself and get yourself a little Halloween treat that'll arrive in your mailbox in November or December. Hey, maybe it'll make a great gift for the other holiday. So click that link in the show notes to order the zine or go to displacedsnail.com. Joe has also just released Joe and Gina Talk About Queer Horror Volume 2. I have Volume 1 and I absolutely adore it. And if you already have The Lantern's Way, you can see what beautiful work Joe makes. So I definitely recommend checking out that new zine as well. Maybe get yourself a nice Halloween bundle to keep the spirit going through this next month. In the show notes, you'll also find our link to our Patreon. If you love It's Always Halloween, please consider subscribing annually to help us be funded through the entire next year. It's patreon.com/itsalwayshalloween. Even if you can't do that, you just want to subscribe for a couple of months, it's a huge help, and we would love to have you in the Ghoul Gang to watch movies and read books and listen to scary stories together. Just get you on the Discord and know that you always have a spooky community to reach out to when you need that little burst of Halloween energy, regardless of what that kooky calendar says. Lanterns, as I said earlier in the podcast, we want to hear how you celebrated Halloween and today, the 31st. Trick-or-treat stories, fun parties, a costume you're really proud of, some really delicious pumpkin pie you maybe scarfed down. Did you fill up your pillowcase full of candy? Are you still trick-or-treating? Listen, I want to hear these stories, and your fellow lanterns want to hear them too, so please call the All Hallows hotline at 802-532-DEAD or drop us a line, write us that mail at itsalwayshalloweenpodcast@gmail.com. You can also message me and find me on Instagram at itsalwayshalloweenpodcast. And hey, if you really want to show the world that it's always Halloween, go to our Redbubble, order a t-shirt, a notebook, a phone case. We even have masks on there. Show the world it's always Halloween with some Always Halloween merch, or if you want to support the podcast, but you don't have a lot of extra scratch because you poured it all into the holiday, I hear you. Just write us a sweet little 5-star review. Say some kind things so that other like-minded ghouls can find us. It makes a huge difference because we got to keep this party going. We can't give up now just because that dang calendar wants us to. The review can be as simple or detailed as you like. I've got a couple of really sweet ones that came in recently. This one is from Tay Tay, and the subject line is, "Hey, I love Halloween a lot, like a lot. This podcast is so awesome, and I can't wait for more episodes to come out." Tay Tay, that rules. I'm so happy that you're enjoying the podcast and that you love Halloween as much as I do. This next one is from Apelius, and the subject line is, "I love this podcast. I love how informative and culturally sensitive this podcast is. Halloween is my favorite time of year, and the host does a beautiful job of discussing its history and engaging fans in talking about their favorite Halloween memories." I'm so happy you feel that way, and what a great way to distill what Pete and I are trying to do here. Thank you. And this next one is from the Sleepy Bunny. Hey Luce and anyone else reading this review. While I wouldn't say I'm obsessed with Halloween, I've always loved the spirit of the day. Once I went off searching for Halloween-related stuff to do, and I came across the podcast. I love Luce's enthusiasm, and the amount of energy she puts into this podcast and this holiday amazes me. No matter what people say, I hope Luce and her team never stop spreading positivity and all the cozy Halloween vibes. Happy Halloween to everyone! What a fantastic way to wrap up our review corner. Thank you, the Sleepy Bunny. Happy Halloween to everyone indeed. Remember, today is about reaching out to your community and entertaining them in a generous and spooky way. I hope that you're able to spread a little bit of that Halloween magic that you love encountering as well. Be on the lookout, because you never quite know where Halloween magic is hiding. Sometimes it could be a big, incredible scarecrow man driving an old beater car, and other times it might just be a sticky worm in the bottom of a trick-or-treat bag. Either way, something is out there waiting to give you a fun little scare or a fun little treat or just some cozy, nostalgic comfort. So keep them peepers open and make sure to share your experiences with us. I'm wishing you the happiest of happy days, my lovely lanterns all over the world. Know that I am with you today and always as we celebrate Halloween. Today's episode of It's Always Halloween was co-produced, written, and performed by me, your forever haunted host, Luce Tomlin-Brenner, along with my co-producer, editor, sound designer, and theme music extraordinaire, Pete Burns. Thanks, Pete. I also could not have made today's podcast without the help from your fellow lanterns, Josh, Tom, Adam, Diego, Delina, Grimturn Tom, Diana, Danielle, Matt, Sybil, Jeannie, and Kia. Wow, that was a big Frights indeed. Thank you so much for listening to yet another episode of It's Always Halloween, and come back next time. Unless the calendar gets its hooks in you and convinces you it's not always Halloween.